What's going on, YouTube? It's the big homie, the armchair operator. And today I'm bringing y'all a first impressions video, kind of like a first shots, first impressions kind of video. So if you checked out my previous video, you know that I just picked up that Springfield Echelon literally today as of the recording of this video, July 15th. From one of my local gun stores, and I was excited to take it to the range. So I'm just going to share my experiences with y'all really quickly. But before we get into that, first I got to give a huge shout out to the Bunker Gun Shop. They are the people who supplied the gun for this review. They've been taking care of me for a long time, y'all. So if you're in the greater Philadelphia area, definitely check them out. I'm going to put their contact information in the detail section of this video. I have a business card here, so just to give you a visual. So that's the Bunker Gun Shop, and this is some information on the back. It's not going to come up very well on the camera, but I just wanted to show y'all that really quick. But anyway, like I said, they got 2 locations in the greater Philadelphia area. So I'm gonna put all that information down in the details section of this video. I highly recommend that y'all check them out. They got a lot of great inventory, a lot of great stock, some knowledgeable and friendly people working there. So definitely check them out. But anyway, let's dive into this initial thoughts review. All right, so here we go. Springfield Echelon. So my initial impressions of the gun so far, it looks really nice and it feels really good in hand, you know? So let's just go over some of the features that we can see so far. Looks like we have a 4.5-inch barrel, and I believe this barrel is cold hammer forged. Now there are 2 flavors of the Echelon that's available as of right now. We have, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it basically comes down to the sighting system. So this particular one is the 3-dot tritium night sights. That's the one that I have here. They also have another version that has the U-notch in the back, and it has, I believe it's like a high-vis front sight. It looks like that sight has tritium in it as well on a U-notch one. Not 100% sure, but just to give you an idea, they're basically 2 flavors. And the cost difference, I believe, is like $30 between the 2. This one being $30 more because it has the tritium night sights from the factory. So, I mean, for a factory gun, tritium night sights is looking pretty good if you ask me. So down from the sighting system, we have some really nice serrations here. They're actually pretty aggressive without being too aggressive. They kind of put me in the mind of Walther's Super Terrain slide serrations, but just not as deep. But as you can see, it really makes racking the gun very easy, right? So from there, we're going to go down to, as you can see, it is optics ready. The optics system is a little bit different with this gun. They don't really give you optics plates. They have, like, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but it's a different type of setup than your standard optics plates. You know, they're kind of like adapters that allow you to install your optic of choice to this particular gun. Like I said, I haven't really got into all of that just yet. I literally just picked this up today, but all of that stuff is also here. So in case you were wondering, these are the pin sets. This particular one is for the Delta Point Pro. So I guess the idea is to install these into the slide assembly itself, or on the underside of the optic, and then install the optic that way. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to go through the manual and look at that, but I'll definitely have that information for y'all for my full review. All right, so we got ourselves a Picatinny rail, full-length Picatinny rail right here, which is good. And if you look at this, right, look at this. We got texture just about every place you could think of on this gun. We got texture right here on the frame, right here on the takedown lever. So actually what you have from the factory is a built-in gas pedal. Like, if you can imagine that, right? You have a built-in gas pedal, which is, that's the first time I've seen that from a stock duty type gun. like just stock, big box. But anyway, so we also have some texture up here at the top of the grip. And just to show you, it's on both sides, mind you. Of course, not so much the takedown lever, because the takedown lever is on one side and not both. But if you look on the frame here, you have it on both sides, which is good. Of course, you got the same texturing down here around the grip. Now, this texturing, just to give you an idea, is not super aggressive, but it's good, right? It really does the job really well. So if you're not a fan of really aggressive texture, I think you'll like this texture because it's not too aggressive. It actually puts me it puts me in the mind of, like, say, the SIG P320 as far as the texture goes, or the SIG M17. You also have texture on the front of the trigger guard, and you also have texture right here under the trigger guard in this undercut. So, I mean, like I said, this, so far, Springfield Armory they're looking pretty good with this Echelon so far. You know, we got your ambi magazine release, got it on both sides here. We also have an ambi slide catch slide release. As you can see, it's also from both sides. Got our extractor here. I'm not sure if this dubs as a loaded chamber indicator, but judging from the looks of it, I think it does. It's probably very similar to that, to what you will see like on a Glock or a Shadow Systems or something like that. Honestly, I didn't pay too much attention to it when I was on the range, but you know, I'll definitely keep an eye on that, because I'm pretty sure that it does. And also we have, so this gun actually comes with 2 magazines. You got a 17 rounder here, and you have so essentially this is a 17 rounder with a plus, I believe, 3 extension, bringing it up to 20. Or maybe plus 4 up to 21. I think it's around 20. Now, the thing about that, they also give us the components to convert the 17 rounder up to the 20. So you really could have 2 20-round magazines from the factory. Think about that. That is cool. So I probably will end up doing that at some point, but as far as right now, I doubt it. Who knows? Like I said, I literally just picked this gun up today, so we'll see. We got a magazine loader here, and we have additional back straps. So just to give you a little bit of background on this gun, the Springfield Echelon has a modular design. And essentially what that means is the fire control unit is the serialized part of the gun, a la P320 series, M17, M18, whatever. The whole P320 line is very, you know, gives you an idea of what I'm talking about here. Now, here's what sets this gun apart from the SIG. We have back straps. So from the factory, the medium one, I would have pursued the medium one because honestly, they're not labeled. But if I'm not mistaken, this is the particular one that was on here when I first got the gun. So this one is on here. I installed this one actually a short while ago. So it's a little bit interesting of how to install this. So when I first looked at this, I thought it was kind of like a punch tool or something like that. But it really isn't. Installing the back strap. And also, let me just say this too. The instruction, you have to download the instruction manual from Springfield's website. Personally, I would have preferred that the manual came with the gun, an actual old school manual. I'm kind of old school in that regard, so that's a bit of a criticism in my opinion, only because you have to go online to get it. It's like, yes, I know we're on an internet world, but I would have preferred to have the book and not have to be tied to an internet service just to get the manual for the gun. So just be advised that you'll have to go online and get the manual. But basically, you just put your finger in here and you see this, you essentially push in on that inside of the grip and then just slide this off, and then you just slide in the new one and it locks into place. So that's kind of how that works. So if you were curious, this actually seats into a hole in the grip, in the back strap itself, going into the frame. And once you take this off, you'll see it. It's just pretty simple. It's straightforward. But My point is, not only is it a modular design where you can conceivably remove the fire control unit and put it in a different chassis, you know, like a different grip at some point, you can also customize the grip. So that's cool. I mean, honestly, that's really cool. You're not necessarily tied to buying a whole new grip module in order to, say, get a larger grip on the gun, for the gun, excuse me. So that's really good. And while I'm on the subject of the grip, if I'm honest, from an ergonomic standpoint, the length of pull for me for this gun from the gate is a bit too short. And I've noticed that, especially with my shot groupings, it's a bit too short. I like a bit of a longer reach because, again, I have larger hands. So as I'm working the trigger, it's just easier for me to, I'll just see if we can show it. It's a little easier for me to, if I have a greater distance between my finger and the interior portion of my hand, it's easier for me to work that trigger back without pushing it or slapping the trigger. It's just an easy, straight pull. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. It took me a little bit while to get used to it, and I did get used to it. So, you know, there's that. And also, while we're on the subject of the trigger, let's just go to that trigger right quick. So, as you can see, that's your wall. We go back even further, it drops, and the reset, there you go, that's the reset. Drop, there you go, that's the reset. So it's pretty short. The trigger is kind of heavy. I can definitely tell that this is a duty style trigger just from the pull. If I had to guess, it's probably be like about a 6-pound pull, somewhere in that neighborhood. But the reset is really crisp and actually pretty short for a duty gun. So that's good. That's really good. And that's kind of the thing when you're talking about duty guns. You know, you don't want too light of a trigger on a duty gun, obviously for safety reasons, right? But this is actually really good. So definitely, you know, kudos to Springfield on that. So far I've only put about 250 rounds of 150 grain full metal jacket MagTech this afternoon, and I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any bobbles or anything like that. Like I said, it took me just a little while to get used to the trigger reset and the ergonomics of the grip. And I had the smaller of the 3 grips on the gun when I first got it, but I got used to it. So I'm interested to see what my performance will be like with the larger grip, larger backstrap on the grip. So when I get to doing my full review, and I think I'm going to do that at about 1,000 rounds. So once I hit 1,000 rounds, I'm going to do a full review of this guy and just really give you my thoughts on that. You know, by then I can get a chance to see what the reliability is like, you know, how the shootability feels and so on and so forth with the larger grip, and just really give y'all a much more informed opinion of the Springfield Echelon. And I strive to give y'all honest gun review content. You know, this is not, I'm not sponsored by Springfield or anyone else. You know, no one didn't give me this thing. I paid for it out of my own money. So I'm going to give y'all my honest assessment of it, of how I feel about this gun. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. Like I said, this is just a quick, you know, initial impressions, just to give you like an overview of the new hotness from Springfield, the Springfield Echelon. I mean, if this thing really stands up to test of time, this could be very well be a flagship gun for Springfield Armory. I mean, only time will tell on that. So, but anyway, guys, I want to let y'all go. Thank you so much for watching this initial first thoughts. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit that bell icon to enable notifications. That way you'll be updated whenever I drop new content. Definitely keep your eyes out for that full review of this guy, because it will be coming in the coming months. So I'm going to turn y'all loose. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Armchair Operator signing off.